guys, what's going on? Dustin here, Just Cook with Dustin. Today I'm going to be bringing you another pizza recipe. I've really been working on this over the last couple months, and something that I was reminded of or remembered is my wife, she was a nurse and she took a job back in 2010 to be a traveling nurse, and we got to live in Maui for a year of that while she opened up a new cath lab there at the hospital. And that was about a year after I stopped working in the wholesale meat business and starting to get into some bread making and things. I did that while I was there, and I had forgot that I had written down a recipe from a YouTube channel I saw back then on artisan bread in 5 minutes a day. And so I had written this down, the recipe for it, on a folder back when we were there. And one of the things I bought was a pizza pan from Ross, I think. And it was one of these that's got the holes in it, little lip on it. And so I picked up a couple of these. They actually had them on buy one get one free over at Kroger, or Fry's for me here in Arizona. And so I picked those up and I started working on another pizza recipe. And so in this video I'm showing you my pizza recipe, my pizza dough 2.0. And I'm going to be showing you two different styles of pizza that I made. I made a California barbecue chicken pizza, as well as my favorite pepperoni, sausage, bell pepper and onion, and some mushroom. So let's get started. Okay guys, to get started, to make our dough, we're going to use 3 cups of flour, 1.5 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of yeast. We're going to get the dry ingredients mixed up together. We're going to do this dough. You can make it the night before and put it in the refrigerator. You can make it the morning of and put it in the refrigerator, or you can make it 3 hours before you want to start working on making your pizzas. I usually start mine at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then it's ready by 5 o'clock when I'm ready to prepare all of the toppings that I'm going to have for my pizza. So after getting the dry ingredients mixed up together, we're going to add our 1.5 cups water and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All the exact measurements will be down in the description below. I used the scale to weigh these out, so there's also the weight measurements. With the 1.5 cups of water, we're going to also use another tablespoon or 2 at the very end to see if we need more. I ended up needing about 2 more tablespoons of water to add to this to get the dough and all the flour hydrated. And so I'm just cutting all the dough using a slashing motion, and I set there on the side to see how much flour is at the bottom that's still dry, and I'm going to add that additional couple tablespoons of water and get that mixed together. Once this is done, I'm going to put a lid on it and set it aside. Like I said, you can do this the night before, the morning of, or as little as 3 hours before you're ready to prepare your pizzas. So I'll make this at 2 in the afternoon and it's ready to work with by 5 o'clock. So we're going to put a lid on this and set it aside. Once the dough is rested for at least 3 hours, I am ready to work with it. And so I'm using a little mesh strainer to sprinkle flour along the top and the sides of this dough. That way when I use the dough scraper to remove this from the bowl, as I scrape the dough away, the flour falls in between the dough and the bowl to keep it from continuing to stick. So I'm just releasing this from the bowl. I've got my scale here, and I'm going to put a bowl on it and then make sure I zero it out. I'm going to add the dough ball to this, weigh it, because this is enough dough to make 2 pizzas. I believe they're 14 or 16 inch pizzas, the pans that I'm using. So I'm just cutting this in half, making sure that I've got equal amounts for each dough ball. And so after we've weighed it out, I'm going to take it and we're going to form it into individual dough balls. So there hasn't been a whole lot of kneading to do this dough. We just mixed it together with the water and olive oil 3 hours ago. So now we're just going to shape it into a ball. And then I've got a baking sheet that's lined with a little bit of saran wrap that I've put some olive oil on. And I'm going to place this dough ball on that saran wrap. And then I'm going to brush the top with olive oil to keep it from drying out. Once I've done this, I'm going to set those aside while I prepare my pizza toppings. So this is going to allow the dough to rest for an additional 30 to 40 minutes as I prepare my toppings. And it's going to allow the glutens of the dough to relax and make it so that this dough is very, very easy to work with. Once it's time to shape our pizza, I can get it from being a dough ball to a round pizza in probably 60 seconds. It really goes really fast. The dough is super soft and easy to work with. So we've got these, we're setting them aside, and then we're gonna brush them with olive oil, and I'm gonna cover them with another layer of saran wrap to keep them from drying out. I just put these up on top of my fridge and let them rest while I prepare my other toppings. Alright guys, so we've got all of our toppings ready. I'm going to be using some cooked rotisserie chicken and white onions on this first pizza, along with Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce with apple cider vinegar added to it. So I've got my pizza pan here with the holes. I believe these holes really help let the moisture come out of the crust, giving you a nice crust as the pizza cooks. I'm using whole milk mozzarella. I like to lay this out on a paper towel to just get out as much moisture as you possibly can. Normally you'd want to use a low moisture mozzarella, but I like this type of cheese on my pizza. It just takes a little extra effort to get as much of the liquid out of it as you possibly can. So I just press it down with the paper towels and dry it off really well. So we've got our dough balls here. You can see they've like doubled in size in that 35-40 minutes that it's been resting while we prepared our pizza toppings. Put a little flour on the top and then some on your working surface, and just begin to press down with your fingers, working from the center out to the outer edge of the crust. This really only takes about 60 seconds to form this pizza. So I'm just going to continue to press down and stretch a little bit, and then I'm going to pick the dough up and let it rest on the backs of my hands using just my knuckles, not my fingers, but the knuckles on the backs of your hand, and just let gravity do the work. You're just going to rotate it around in a circle, and it's just the weight of the dough is going to stretch. And so once you get to the diameter that you need for your pizza pan, we're going to take this and lay it out on that pan and then apply our sauce and toppings. Going to continue to do a little extra stretching here just to make sure that that crust is formed on the edge and that we are getting full coverage on the pan. And this just takes a few more seconds, a little extra detail to make sure you've got a good crust on the edge of your pizza. Once this is done, like I said, we're going to add the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. I like to add the apple cider vinegar to it, so it gives it a nice little vinegary tang to it. And then we're going to add the mozzarella cheese, the cooked rotisserie chicken, and the white onions. Once this pizza is ready to go in the oven, I've got this thing cranked all the way up, 500 plus degrees on bake. I'm going to put it up right under the top element for the first 10 minutes. So we're going to go 5 minutes, rotate it, half turn, put it in for an additional 5 minutes. After it's cooked for that first 10 minutes, I'm going to take this off of the pizza pan and put it down on the bottom rack directly over that heating element. This has allowed the cheese on the top and the crust to get golden brown, and then this is going to finish off the bottom of that crust. Like I said, this oven is at 500 plus degrees. These cook really fast. Get great color on the cheese from the upper element baking right over the top. We're going to add some garlic butter to the edge of this and get it ready to serve to the kids. Barbecue chicken pizza. The dough for this pizza is just so easy to make. Like I said, you can do it the night before, throw it in the refrigerator, take it out, put it on the counter for an hour or so before you're ready to divide it into 2 dough balls. You can do it the morning of, same process, put it in the refrigerator, or you can do it 3 hours before it's time to do pizza. Look at that crust, golden brown. It's holding up to the toppings. The perfect pizza fold. Just delicious. I highly recommend this. You can see just really good crumb and bubble formation in the dough. It's not too thick. It's not a bunch of bread. It's still a pretty thin, almost like New York style pizza crust here. So this first pizza, the what would be like a California barbecue chicken pizza. It's great. So with the second dough ball here, gonna get the flour sprinkled on the top a little bit on our working surface, and again we're just gonna start from the center and work our way out to the outer edge of the pizza, forming our round pizza shape. You're gonna just push down. What you're doing with your fingers here is you're getting all those bubbles worked out, you're pushing out the dough, you're not overworking it, and we're just also working on getting the crust thin in the center and pushing the extra out for the outer edge of this. Again, pick it up, let it rest on the back of your hands, just your knuckles, so your fingers don't go through, and gravity's going to do most of the work for you. Get this on the pizza pan, finish stretching it out to the shape of the pan, work the outer edge to really get that outer crust shape, and then we're going to get our other toppings put on this. For this, I'm going to be using a red sauce, and for the red sauce, I'm using a can of San Marzano tomatoes. They're whole tomatoes. I put them in a mason jar. I add some granulated garlic, onion powder, dried oregano, dried basil, and a couple tablespoons of sugar, and hit this with an immersion blender to get it really blitzed. All those tomato chunks blended up well. Pour this out onto the pizza dough and get a ladle and spread it out to the outer edges. And this is great. You can put on as much or as little red sauce as you want. Again, this is just amazing Italian San Marzano tomatoes, a can of those, granulated garlic, onion powder, oregano, basil, and sugar to taste. Some people will also add some olive oil to theirs, but the way I've been making mine, I've just really loved this flavor combination with the oregano and the basil, garlic, onion, and just that little bit of sweetness to take off the edge because of the acidity of the tomatoes, but a wonderful flavor. Once we get all of our sauce spread out, we're going to do the same process again with the cheese. I'm just breaking it up and getting the cheese scattered around. And the beauty of making pizza at home on Friday nights for the family, you can put as much or as little of everything you want on this thing. So we've got our cheese, pepperoni, and Italian sausage, roasted red bell peppers, and mushrooms. The mushrooms, I sauteed those off in a dry pan, no butter, no salt, no pepper, nothing, just sliced mushrooms, dry pan, golden brown. Get those laid out on the pizza and use up the rest of the white onion that I have here. Again, we're going to put this in the oven, top rack, 5 minutes, rotate it 180 degrees, another 5 minutes, and then we're going to take it and put it down on the bottom rack to really get the crust, the bottom of the crust to be that perfect golden brown. Again, 10 to 12 minutes cook time on these. You're cranking the oven, put it on bake, crank it up all the way, 500 plus degrees, pop it in there. These cook so fast. Again, this dough recipe makes 2 pizzas for you. So perfect family dinner night, Friday night, and it'll cost you a fraction of what you pay to get pizza from your local pizzeria. So right here, I was going to check to make sure that the crust is done as I want it. And I needed another minute or so I put it back in the oven. And then when I went to take it out, I pulled the bottom rack out a little bit, but I didn't get under the pizza right, and I almost lost this entire pizza off the back of the rack. So be careful on that part. I have lost a pizza off the back of the rack before, so it's not a pretty mess to have to clean up. So again, we've got the melted garlic butter that we're going to brush around the edge of this. This gives an additional great garlicky flavor as you eat the edge of the crust. And we're going to get this cut up. This crust, I've just been so happy with it. I mean, my family's one that we like pizza on a regular basis. Pizza and sushi, like those are our 2 favorite foods. To be able to make what I feel is a good pizzeria quality pizza at home, I'm just really proud of it, and I love doing this every weekend. The kids love helping make the pizzas. Again, just a perfect golden brown on the bottom, and this is really light and fluffy on the inside, but it's got a great chewy texture on the outside. The crust it's got a little snap to it. I just can't rave about my pizza enough, so I just hope you guys will take this recipe and give it a try. Again, it's 3 cups all-purpose flour, 1.5 cups of water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a teaspoon of yeast, and a teaspoon of salt. 3 hours before you're ready to cook pizza. It's so good, so delicious. If you guys haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, give a big thumbs up and share this video with your friends. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that recipe video. Again, this is a great dough that you can make either the night before, the morning of, or 3 hours before you're ready to start your cooking process. I hope you guys will take this recipe, make it yours. Oh my gosh, I sound like the Aimless Cook. If you haven't been to his YouTube channel, Aimless Cook, it's a great YouTube channel. It's one that's actually been very inspirational for me in cooking. He's got great recipe videos over there. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe video, and if you haven't seen his YouTube channel, go check out the Aimless Cook. Great guy. He's out of Canada and does a lot of great Asian, Filipino inspired recipes, and he's also got a restaurant that he and his family run. So didn't intend to plug his video, but hey, I'm glad to. But he always ends his videos saying, take this recipe and make it yours. And my question of the day is, what's your favorite pizza? All right, guys, take care. We'll see you next time.